So if you've been planning your wedding, you might already notice that some things are a little exy. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about why wedding vendors might be deemed expensive or why you might think they're expensive. But we're pretty much going to get into like the nitty-gritty of how wedding vendors pretty much charge for what they do. So let's get into it. This idea for this video actually came from a friend. She sent me a Instagram post, which I think is something that you guys might find relatable, something that you might have actually thought about or might have crossed your mind, or someone might have told you something similar to this. And we're just gonna chat about it. So in this Instagram post, it reads, "Coming from a professional event planner, weddings are really expensive because companies openly raise prices at the word wedding. So pro tip, never drop the word wedding while planning if you don't need to. For my wedding, I got discounted cupcakes, flowers, decor, bridesmaids' dresses, groomsmen's attire and invitations. And I did this either by searching for things that aren't marketed for weddings or not telling the companies I was working with that it was a wedding. What these companies do is really scrummy and targets people who don't have information about the event industry." And then she asked me if it was true. Because obviously I'm an event planner. If you didn't know, you're new to my channel. Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm an event planner and I mostly do weddings. So she was asking me if it was true and if we actually charge in the wedding industry a lot more because the word wedding is into it. So pretty much as part of the wedding industry, a lot of us, and I mean like a whole chunk of us, and I'm going to throw a statistic out here that has no backing whatsoever other than my experience, but I think like 90% of us are all sole traders. Or if we're not sole traders, we're at least partnerships, okay? And that is like the smallest form of business that you possibly can have. A sole trader is usually just one person and they hire external people to come help them on board every now and then, but they're pretty much, that business is just one person. And a partnership is just two people. So there might be a husband or wife, sometimes they do that a lot. But then you can also have businesses that are a little bit bigger. But usually in the wedding industry, we're mostly sole traders, and then some of us are partnerships. Now, when you run a business, you need to make sure that the profit that you earn outweighs the expenses that you need to run your business. It's just, normal maths, right? So to make sure that our profit outweighs our expenses, we need to make sure that we charge accordingly to our clients to make sure that those get covered, right? We also need to eat and live and drive a car and have a roof over our head and have clothes to wear, all that kind of stuff. So in order to do that, we charge a client a fee. And that fee has to cover our business expenses and then our living expenses and then what we actually want to, earn or, profit stuff. So things that you guys would be able to spend on extra clothes, on holidays, on a Ducati, I don't know, whatever you prefer to spend your money on. But that's the fee that we need to charge. Now, if you think about it, we as sole traders are one person. If we do say, which is ridiculous for me as a wedding planner, but some people do 52 weddings a year, say that one wedding a week, we need to make sure that those 52 people, which are 52 couples, will pay us enough for all of these things, to cover all these things. Which means that our premium is usually higher than, say, if you went to someone who was a multinational company, like say Kmart, and we'll just pretend that Kmart does wedding photography, and they have hundreds of employees who literally go to weddings and they take photographs and they come back and then they send their photos to a team who then edit it and then they send it to another team to make it into albums. That streamlined process actually makes the business a lot more efficient and a lot more cost effective, and therefore they can charge a lower cost. They have the manpower in that bigger business, bigger company to actually support the supply and demand, which means that more people will be able to share the costs of the overheads, whereas when you're paying for a sole trader or a partnership, you're spreading that load between 52 people compared to maybe thousands. If you have one photographer, they're probably going to be prepping for your wedding and then making sure they have the equipment for the day. They're probably going to shoot your wedding by themselves and then they're going to come home, sit in an editing room and edit for a couple of days and then come out the other end and hand you a beautiful album of photos. That's just one guy compared to like a multinational company which might have a couple of guys who's gone through. So that is the biggest reason why your wedding vendors cost just a little bit extra in the scope of, I guess, your life. However, what the post did get correct is that sometimes, yes, we do add on an extra charge for weddings. Not as exuberant as what this post is saying, nothing like that. We don't tack on like thousands of dollars, but it does add a standard that we need to uphold, I guess you can say. So for a wedding, if any of us make a mistake, the repercussions of those mistakes are a lot higher than if it was just your good old granny's birthday party. It just is. So because it's so important and has such a high standard that we need to meet, we need to charge extra for it because it gives us a little bit of more stress than, say, your ordinary job. And that's just because the standards are higher. It doesn't matter if you're a chill bride or, you know, you're pretty relaxed and laid back. It's actually got more to do with the fact that we want to make sure that we are 100% going to give you the best service that we possibly can for your wedding. And because it's your wedding day, which should be pretty damn important, we want to make sure that we don't have any errors and that we are compensated for the extra amount of work and effort and, I guess, the stress management levels that we have to deal with to make sure that we are doing the right service for you. It's just like what you would expect in your own job. If you have more responsibility at work, you expect to get paid more. Just like we have a higher responsibility of a standard that we need to uphold, we need to be paid more for that. It's pretty much as simple as that. We're not trying to take advantage of anybody. We're not overestimating our ability. We're not rolling in any kind of dough either. We're all trying to earn an honest wage. And if you choose your vendors really, really wisely, which is something I really stress that you do, you'll find that they are charging absolutely reasonably for what they do. A lot of what we do is behind the scenes. Like if you think about it with a wedding photographer, they edit in a room by themselves for like the longest time possible. I don't know how they do it. And they're not just doing your wedding, they're probably doing another person's wedding too. That's a lot of photos, especially if you have like 4 photographers, which I have been a part of a wedding that had 4 photographers. You're probably getting about 4,000 photos from that one day that they need to edit for you. It's crazy. Like that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the personalized service. You're paying for their expertise. You're paying for their, like I said, their equipment, their, I don't know, overheads, all that kind of stuff to run a business. We're more than willing to work with you. If you have a budget that's smaller than what we charge, maybe we can tailor make our package to suit you guys. Which is why I stress with my couples so much to figure out what your budget is. Because it's better to go to a vendor and tell them, this is how much I have, what can you do for me with it, than to figure out how much they cost and then see whether your budget fits with them. Because that is the slipperiest slope for blowing your budget out of proportion. It's just don't go there. Just don't go there. When you pay for a wedding planner like me, a lot of what I do is behind the scenes and it's literally behind a computer. I do a lot of research that nobody knows about. I meet up with a whole lot of vendors that nobody knows about. That I meet with clients for one time, and the prep that I have to go through to even quote, same with florist quoting, man, is a massive amount of work that doesn't actually get seen, which makes it a lot harder for us to try and be transparent with you guys in terms of where your money is going. But to put it in a big picture, it's just to cover our business expenses, our living expenses, and then something to save and, you know, have in the future, just like everybody else. Yes, we do choose this way of living. We do love being a small business. I love being a small business. I love being a sole trader. I love doing what I do, but that's why we charge what we do. It's so that we can continue doing what we love and still be able to like live off it, because nobody wants to do what they love for free. That's not fair. And if you love doing computer science and you were asked to do it for free, what would you say? I bet you'd probably be a no. So let me know what you think. Hopefully this video has been informative to you. Let me know in the comments below. As always, even though I haven't really said it that much, please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy listening to wedding planning videos. I plan on doing heaps of tips and tricks and hints and stuff like that on this channel. Let your other friends know and give me a big thumbs up because you liked me. Sounds good? Okay. Alright, I gotta go now. Bye.